many things that's held us down, but now with God all things are finally turning around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up is heaven's throne. But we won't let nothing hold us back. God's raising up the standard, He's polishing up our act. Yeah. If you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. God's in the groove. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. God's in the groove. I know you know someone that has a need in their life. We need to help them make it and never push them aside. We have to show them which way to go. Ask them where they're going. Streets of gold. But we won't let nothing hold us back. God's raising up the standard, He's polishing up our act. If you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Well, don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say, every word I say. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. Ain't no stopping us now. God's in the groove. God's in the groove, yeah. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. Moving, grooving. Ain't no stopping us now. We're in the groove. God's in the groove. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. The devil's lying, but I am buying. Ain't no stopping us now. We're leaving a negative past way behind. Ain't no stopping us now. God's on the move. We're moving, moving, moving on. Ain't no stopping us now. We're in the groove. Please, hey. Don't wanna stop, please don't make me stop. Don't wanna stop, please don't make me stop. We're on the move. Don't wanna stop, please don't make me stop. 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 Ain't no stopping us now.
You are tuned in to that praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Hi, ladies. Hello there. Hello there. Hello there. You know what time it is. It's time for the momentum shift. Girl Shine Project Incorporated. Oh, wow. We party. Yes. I needed a oh wow week party. How many of you all tired? It's Tuesday and it feels like it's Friday already. Dr. Lady Rain in the background, making it rain for us. She talking about ain't no stopping us now. I needed that today because today I wanted to take a nap. Y'all almost got text messages saying that, hey, we gonna reschedule this. Doc B been on calls, hey, You know what? This is what I'm talking about. This is called dedication. She been on call all day. In fact, she don't even take call till tonight at midnight. But today has been a day of fire. You know what, you guys? It is May. I know in March we talk about March Madness, but it's May Madness. Y'all looking at me. I can feel y'all through the screen. I don't even have to see what y'all writing, but I can feel it. It's already May Madness. I know y'all had a wonderful Mother's Day. I cannot believe it's May 11th. Look, oh my goodness. This year is rolling. Keep them raws rolling. Kim probably laughing at me on the inside. So y'all can't see what Just Ask Kim doing. Oh, I got to see my, you know what? I'm going to slide this on back so I don't get in trouble with my producer. See, when you got producers, y'all can't see what production, what's going on behind the scenes. See, so I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna relax, and I'm gonna sit on my hands, y'all, so I don't be swinging. See, that's what I have to do during my graduation ceremony, so I don't get in trouble. Y'all know. I know y'all enjoyed Kim's show on Saturday. Wasn't it amazing to have her on our platform? Finally. Now if I could just get her to enroll in this PhD program. That's a whole nother show though. Another show. I appreciate, let me see who on here. Oh, wait. Whoa. You know what? See, somebody got jokes. I see Jeanette on here, Ronnie on here. I hope I'm in the right week because it's nothing wrong. Y'all know me. I might be on the wrong show. I done been in the wrong week on the wrong show. And I'm live. Now, you know it's a shame when you live and you don't know where you are. See, that's the kind of stuff that happened. Oh, I see a Arthur Weathersby on here. Yes, it is one of the best. Ronnie's on here. She on her way home, y'all. Ronnie cut out. Y'all pray for Ronnie's her phone, because her phone about to cut out. I can't see who else on here because folks are already replying, and I don't know. Sade on here.
Sade, Willie, Ursula, they're on here. Yvette on here.
Hi, y'all. Hello.
Trina
on here. Hi, Trina. Yay. Tawana on here. Come on, y'all. Come on in. Ernestine. Welcome. Y'all keep coming so I can see who on here. Oh, hey, Richie in the house. Yvonne Horton. I hope I'm saying her name right.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? It's just such an honor and a privilege to have Doc D back with us this week. Y'all don't know. See, y'all wore me out because see, they couldn't wait till next month, Doc D. They couldn't do it. them jokers was texting and calling. You know what? They were wearing me out. I told you this audience was ruthless, didn't I? I tried to warn her. This audience don't play. They don't play. You can't like drop a bomb on them right at the end and think they gonna be all right. See them family secrets? That's what we ended on last week. You right at the end of the show, just when it was getting gooder and gooder, them jokers, they start, here they go. They just texting. They have their own show. They really do. Jeanette, you still in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh, she's still out in Texas, out in San Antonio. We gonna welcome you back to Arizona, Jeanette. I know you having fun out there with your daughter and the grands, but we need you to come on back to our state. I know you're in the Lone Star State, but we need you in the Valley of the Sun. I don't know who else. I can't see who else on here, but it's just such a nice opportunity to have my girl Just Ask Kim on here. She made her debut. Yes, they love Kim. They absolutely love Kim. Kim is really the reason why they tune into my show. They don't have nothing to do with me. It's all about Kim.
That's not true.
It's really all about Kim. It is. You know, it wait, whoa. I see something about a rotation. 24 hours a day, you requested, we rotate it. Okay. All right, well, praise the Lord. Look at that. Sade talking about that's her friend. Okay, what about your sister? See, I'm starting to feel a little some kind of way. See what I'm talking about? It's Kim. They on here all because of Kim.
No, they just
All
saying
about
hello. They're just saying hello.
It's all about Kim. That's all right. Ronnie said you're going to bail her out. Oh Lord, Kim. See, they love Kim. They hop on here, they drive, they speed, they do everything just because of Kim. They don't want to miss Kim. But you know, this is good stuff though. I'm just so excited about everything God is doing through Girl Shine Project. Like I told you guys, the plan is to have the official launch on Saturday, July 17th. I don't know what time. I don't know how I'm doing it yet, because one day Lady Rain gonna have some time for me so we can sit down and figure this out. She's just so busy, but I appreciate her. I appreciate everything God is doing through her, through Praise.fm radio, as well as Heart Bible. Oh Lord. Oh, we're international university now. See, look at God.
Yes.
Look at God. We literally have campuses all over where we got them in Africa. When I say the Lord, it's going to be on every continent in a minute. And I'm so excited to be on the launching pad of this new university. And you know what? It's nice to be able to be a dean in a school I attend. If you're interested in finishing up a degree, starting a degree, you want to get your PhD, you want to get your master's, you want to become a chaplain, you want to be a Christian counselor, you want to be a life coach, you know what? The information for our university is, you will see it during the break, you see it at the beginning of the show. All you got to do is just open your eyes and it's there. Wherever you are, the information for Heart Bible International University is there. So if you want to finish your education and you got big plans and you want to have DR in front of your name, see, I'm going to be like Doc D. In December, I'm going to be like Doc D. And you know what? You know God is doing something. When you get to see just a snippet of what your gown is going to look like, or talk about motivation, y'all, that thing is beautiful. So I cannot wait to wear it. And you too could be wearing your graduation gown. If you just reach out to us, we can tell you how to make that happen. Now that I've said that, and I put in all the plugs for everything I could think of, and I'm sure Lady Rain will remind me of the things that I've forgotten, because I'm sure it's something. I'm so excited to have Doc D here. Oh my gosh. You know what? These ladies, they in love with you now. You done started something. You said yes once, and now you back by popular demand. We started off we ended our conversation last week talking about family secrets. She was talking about mental illness. We talked about a little bit about trauma. But you know what? These family secrets that we like to keep, and all of this foolishness that go along with that, and we wonder why, folks all jacked up. Generally, it's about these secrets. We all know the statement. Mm-hmm. What go on in our house stays in our house. Doc D, I want to start with that. Can we start with that statement and how that statement is impacting our mental health?
Okay, as we well know, that is like one of the top things that Black families say, whether it is something minimal or something astronomical. And part of that is they I'm going to say, in my opinion, they prefer to protect the family and the family member versus dealing with the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts too much to deal with, so they rather just sweep it up under the rug. Most often, accusing the child of being a liar or something of that nature, when it has happened to numerous family members. And I often find that if it's happened to one family member, it's happened to somebody else before it's happened to that one as well. Kind of a generational thing. Some of them don't have a preference. They just willing to victimize anybody who's available. And it's sad, but it's true. And so part of saying that last week, we were talking about the post-traumatic stress disorder and how that manifests in Black women as schizophrenia and psychosis, but it's actually trauma induced, because they've been so used to, keeping a lid on it or making sure that that secret is not told, that it's become too much and overbearing, and therefore has, caused a mental break of some kind. And today I had one of those situations. It wasn't necessarily a family secret, but when I got to the home of the individual, she was at a catatonic state. And wow. I had not actually experienced the catatonic state in a residential setting. So that in itself was a little bit different. And since I wasn't the one that was actually doing the assessment, I was able to just sit and observe the individual. And it was from the trauma of a boyfriend that she'd been dating for the past 10 years. He'd married another woman.
Wow.
And when she found out that he'd married, I guess, the other woman, it was too much for her to bear. And she ended up having that mental breakdown and having to go be in the hospital. And I guess Mother's Day being Sunday, she reached out to him and didn't get the response that she wanted. And it caused another break. And she wasn't able to come back from it. And so that was trauma. But I'm sure they'll give her another diagnosis when she actually gets to the crisis center or something. But it was definitely trauma. And since she had become catatonic and nonverbal, that's going to be the diagnosis that she's given, because they're not going to know that background history. So it was kind of sad to see that. But I'll give the definition for PTSD for those that weren't on last week, just so we can kind of start there again. And the post-traumatic stress disorder is a condition of persistent mental and emotional stress occurring as a result of injury or severe psychological shock, typically involving the disturbance of sleep and constant vivid recall of the experience with dull responses to others, to the outside world. So that's what post-traumatic stress disorder is as definition. And you do not have to be in the military to have that diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. That was one of the things that a lot of people thought or had been told, that they had to have been in the military to have that diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. That's not true. You could have a car wreck that could be traumatic and have post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of it. Molestation, rape, all of those incidences can lead an individual to post-traumatic stress disorder. So those are just a couple of incidences where post-traumatic stress disorder can occur, and which leads up to family secrets as well, because that molestation can occur in childhood, and because it occurred in childhood and you were told to keep it a secret, or you were told that that's not true, or you was told that don't tell nobody because Uncle Ben going to jail if you tell. So, or you was being fast, your little fast tail self wanted that to happen, or everything that they shouldn't have been told as a victim, and because they weren't believed, that in turn helped to traumatize them even more than the experience itself. So there was that trauma. And then what happens most often after that is the either the promiscuous sexual behavior as a result of, or the alcohol or drug abuse to cope with what has happened to them. So you kind of got an issue on top of another issue, so it becomes complex trauma at that point, because you tried to dull the pain by using something that wasn't healthy or ineffective. So that's kind of how we end up with trauma on top of trauma. And then in addition to, I made note of these soul wounds, which soul wounds can occur as a result of trauma, which it most often happens because of trauma as well. And so the definition that I read last week for soul wounds was: soul wounds are caused by sin and trauma, most often in childhood. Some wounds come in the form of hurt, disappointment, molestation, abuse, and abandonment, anger, resentment, bitterness, hatred, and unforgiveness, with unforgiveness being the biggest soul wound, which holds the most people in bondage. And some soul wounds can manifest in mental health and in physical health disorders. So that's how the soul wounds come to play in the mental health part of it. So it's a spiritual connotation and a mental health connotation as it relates to soul wounds. We call it soul wounds as far as the spiritual connotation. So that's how the two are correlated, or I married the two because of that correlation.
Before you go any further, I have a statement/question about that.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, a client that I'm working with was just sharing with me about how she was re-victimized, even with getting the help that she needed, because the doctor who should have been helping her re-traumatized her by touching her on her inner thigh.
Okay.
And she was not believed. And I'm wondering if part of that might have been because of the fact that she had, because of her previous behaviors as her acting out behavior, and the fact that she is an African-American woman, she was not believed. And it was, even though she reported, I have to give it to her, she had no problems sharing her truth. But she kept being re-victimized in the system. And do you think that that's part of the reason why a lot of us don't want to seek help? Because either we're afraid to seek out because we weren't believed by family members, those people who should have protected us. And then you get in a situation because they're, like you said earlier, about either the person may be a breadwinner in the family, so mom don't want to say anything because that person's bringing something to the table, and that piece may be more worthwhile to them than losing out on whatever, that cost benefit analysis that they do. It's not worth it to lose that partner. So the child gets, even an adult, doesn't have to be a child, gets re-victimized over and over again, because no matter where you seem to go, there seems to be no help. And it's not just a female either, because I've talked to a couple males who are having some of the same situations where they've gotten re-victimized, whether it's sexual, emotional, physical, whatever it may be, because they're vulnerable. They're in some type of vulnerable situation. And I think oftentimes we assume that this is just a female issue when it isn't.
No, it's definitely not. I worked at the prison for a year, male's prison here in Valdosta, and most of the guys on my caseload had either been molested and they didn't view it as that, or they were having to be the father of the household because, you know, mom was out doing what she was doing and mom was strung out on drugs, or it was a variety of factors. And I recall a couple of the guys in general, they were like 13, 14, and they were dating women in their 30s. And I specifically told one, I was like, she raped you. And he said, no, she didn't. I gave it to her willingly. I said, she raped you because you were a 13-year-old and she was in her 30s. And it baffled him because he had never seen it like that. He was just excited that he had an older woman that was interested in him, not the fact that she had violated him and taken his innocence. So, but the prison system is full of angry Black men who have been molested, abused, neglected, and because they were so angry, a lot of them did illegal things and ended up in prison. Some of the stories were just disheartening. Not because they were criminals, just because of the upbringing. Because that was one thing I wanted to make sure that I did, which was get their stories so that I didn't judge them unfairly. So my opinion of them would be just based upon not reading what was in the black and white, but from what came out of their mouth and what they shared with me. So yes, it's not just women that's victimized.
All right, so let's hold that thought until after the break.
Okay.
You guys, I'm going to ask that you stay on because this is such an important topic because, most of us, if we've not had any experience with the mental health community on a personal note, we know about it either from what we've seen on TV or in the media or what we read, in apps or on social media or wherever you get your information from. But what we're talking about is real life, everyday stuff that people are dealing with. And it could be your next door neighbor. It could be the person who sits next to you at church. It could actually be your first lady, a person that's praying for everyone else or ministering to everyone else, not dealing with their own issues. It could be anybody, really. And oftentimes, because of the fact that it's a secret, it stays a secret because people don't want to deal with the stigma attached to anxiety, depression. And like you said, I think it's very important that people understand that PTSD is not a military issue. Mm-hmm. It's probably gotten notoriety because of the military, but it happens in everyday life. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what song we're going to listen to, but after the break, enjoy. I don't think Lady Rain. Oh, I Am God, Donald Lawrence, which happens to be one of my favorite songs. I actually do know that song. Hallelujah. It's one. And it's one that I actually know. Thanks, Richie, for picking out such a wonderful song for us, because we do need to be reminded that He is God. He is the God who of the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the current testament, and our future testament. He's the God of all. So just know that no matter what you have going on in your life, He is God. Don't go away. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Black women have always led the change in this country. We are tireless, we are freedom fighters, and we are fabulous.
It is important that Black women are lifted up When black women rise, the whole world rises with us.
We know that when we fight, we win.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Urban One Honors celebrates women leading the change on TV One.
In the beginning, and now being there when you have to leave, I'm all seeing, all knowing, almighty, ever showing, for the beginning, yeah, and I'll be there when you get to the end. I'm all seeing, all knowing, almighty, ever showing, for
Have you ever wanted to host your own inspirational radio show? Have you been called to inspire and spread God's word? Please contact Alicia Rain for more info.
Hello, ladies. Welcome back to the Momentum Shift. We're chopping it up with Just Ask Kim.
Yeah.
Yes, because Kim knows the answers to all your questions. She does. Don't ask me, ask Kim. Kim knows. Kim knows it all. I'm telling y'all, Doc D laughing, but she don't know. You don't know Kim like we know Kim. I'm telling you, Kim, no, even Dr. Lady Rain, y'all can't see her, but I'm telling you, Dr. Lady Rain is shaking her head yes, because we all know that Kim knows everything. Anything you want to know, Kim knows. She know the answer. I can ask Kim about the planets. She know the answer. I can ask Kim about something going on in Egypt. Kim know the answer.
No.
Yes, I can ask Kim about something going on in Antarctica. Kim knows the answer. And if she don't know, her husband Gus does. So she still knows. Either way, any of your questions, they have the answers, because I promise you, she knows everything. She does. I am so, we miss you, Carmen. Hi, Carmen. Carmen she's on mommy duty tonight. So she's listening. She can't really engage. I appreciate all of you guys who's sticking around. Y'all in this thing. And it was so good. It was starting to get really, really good. Right before the break, I got Doc D in the house. Y'all, she's back by popular demand. Yes, I'm so glad to have her back. It is such an honor to have her on the show. I appreciate her sacrifice because she is exactly 3 hours ahead of us. So I don't take that lightly. It is now 11:09 and she actually starts working at midnight. So we got to hurry this thing along, y'all. And let's say a quick prayer for her that she gets no calls tonight in Jesus' name.
Yes. In Jesus'
no calls
name.
because she's been working. They've been working her today. I mean, folks been in crisis today. But see, this is why we're having this conversation, because before the break, she was talking about a young lady she had engaged with today who had gotten triggered on Mother's Day because a boyfriend that she had for 10 years actually married someone else. And so trauma isn't always about who touched you. It could be who didn't do you right. Anything could be traumatic to anybody. It really depends on the person. So what might not be traumatic for me could be detrimental to you, and the other way around, So we're doing this. We're pulling the lid off of family secrets, societal secrets. I shared right before the break about one of my clients had shared with me that she had gotten re-traumatized or re-victimized, however you want to look at it, which created a whole nother level of trauma for her. Someone who should have been able to help her ended up violating her as well. And of course, no one wanted to believe her until they got complaints from other people. Imagine what that's made her feel like. And her anger issues have been exacerbated by the constant piling on and piling on and piling on. And it was a secret. So it's not just family secrets, it's secrets, period, that can be detrimental. I do take my hat off to her because she is not one who has not been afraid to share her truth. And for that, she got victimized even more, for being honest. So it is taking a risk, but we want to make it more open and a more honest situation where people are not afraid to share the truth about what's going on behind the scenes. So, Doc D, can you share a little bit? You were talking about in the prison system how young men, their perspective, even the perception of what violated is really like, because in their head, they didn't see it as they were being taken advantage of or being violated, because the honor system amongst men is a little different than the way we look at things when it's young women. Mm-hmm. So could you share a little bit about that and just kind of bring the audience back to where we were?
Yeah, as I was saying, they didn't view it as they had been molested or statutory rape, depending on how you want to term it, because they saw it as they were dating older women. one in particular that I recall, his parents gave the lady the okay to move in with her. I think he said he was either 14 or 15, and I'm sitting, with my mouth kind of hanging open because I don't even know how to fathom giving my child to an adult for her to sleep with. So I just couldn't wrap my mind around what parent would think that was okay. But he wasn't the only one. It was a couple of them that had kind of similar experiences. And then some of the parents were in the drug gang or gang GAME. So they had either pimped out their child, or the child was more or less working for/with them, and they deemed them as a equal or a counterpart. So they were okay with the fact that the sons were engaging these adult women, and then some of the mothers were pimping out their sons so that they could get their drugs. So it was just a variety of situations that were clearly dysfunctional, but that was their home environment, so it was normal to them. So that's one thing that we have to look at as well. Our view of dysfunction can be someone else's normal.
Wow. Say that again.
Yeah. Our dysfunction can be someone else's normal. And there's a curriculum that another colleague introduced me to. I cannot remember the name of it. I think it's Adult Children Raised in Dysfunctional Families. And I have been using that with a couple of my people. And it has scriptural basis along with it. So it's been enlightening to me to use as a therapist, and enlightening for them to, use as a participant, because it's rehashing things that they had never thought about. And the topics, like the first topic deals with self-esteem, but you wouldn't think that your self-esteem is low because you come from a dysfunctional family. And it is because of some of it has to do with the pecking order in the family, and then some of it just has to do with the fact that the family is dysfunctional. And so it's been interesting to watch that unfold as well. And so I guess people meet their parents where they are until they go off to college and discover that it's abnormal. And that's what we find a lot of times. They either find out that what they've experienced their whole childhood is abnormal when they leave to go off to school, or when they get in a relationship as an adult, or when they go into the military. And then I find that the military really exacerbates whatever mental health issue you had going on prior to. And that's how so many people are coming home with the diagnosis of PTSD, because whatever they've experienced, the trauma that they've experienced in the military, coupled with whatever they experienced in childhood, it's just too much, and then they have that mental breakdown. So it's just been interesting to look at it from all aspects, and see how the generational stuff, as well as the immediate family stuff, affects the family units.
Yeah, I have over the years, not necessarily professionally, but over the years, being that we are military, we're retired. You do meet all kinds of people in the military, all kinds of backgrounds, and basic training and the whole stress of military life will can bring out the worst in people. And you'll see it in a lot of the ways in how, especially, because everything is based on rank, supervisory, they think that they're teaching supervisory skills, but there's a lot of hazing that go on. There's a lot of mistreatment that goes on, and I'm talking about even beyond the basic training experience. When you have unhealthy people, obviously they continue to beget more unhealthy people. If they were mistreated by their supervision, or they, every person in authority in their lives abused them in some sort of way, they carry out that abuse. It may not be physical abuse when they're in the military, but they will misuse their authority. Between racism, sexism, every kind of ism you can think of, you will find it in the military. And one thing my husband and I have talked about over the years, and we shared this with people a lot, the climate of the base is whatever's going on in the community outside of the base is usually an issue on the base.
Okay.
It's just really interesting how if there's a lot of rape and molestation and stuff happening in the local community, which may not be service connected at all, but you'll find that same spirit operating on the base. If it's in a community where there's a lot of systematic racism and different things that's happening in the community, you'll find that same thing happening on the base. So it's almost kind of like, it becomes like a spiritual climate of the whole area. So it's an interesting phenomenon. And then you get, and if you notice in the media a lot, we have a question. Hi, Pastor Deborah. I've noticed in the community, if you notice in the news, in the news and in the media, they've been talking, it's starting to be uncovered, a lot of the things that's happening on military installations. We've had shootings that have happened on military installations. These are the kinds of things you just didn't used to hear about in the media. I'm not going to say it didn't happen, but it wasn't making the national media like it does now, where young women are being raped, men are being raped. You have different things that are going on. It kind of got exposed more in the Navy. We're hearing about what was going on in the Navy for a minute, but now you're hearing it on every military installation. There's lots of suicides that's happening. And it's not just because they were in Iraq or in Afghanistan. It's the whole stress of life that's taking place. Pastor Deborah asked a question. How do we define low self-esteem? I hope I'm asking her question correctly. What's the definition of low? How would you define low self-esteem?
Well, it can be defined in so many different ways. I typically look at, I ask the question of the individual that I'm providing services to, how do you view yourself? Would you say you have high self-esteem, low self-esteem, or it depends on the situation? So depending on their answer is generally how I proceed from there. But the low self-esteem could be like low self-worth, what they think of themselves, what they've been told they are, and that they actually believe. So it can encompass a lot of different things. Just again, it depends on childhood and environment and things. Because if you were called ugly in childhood, stupid, you'll never amount to anything. You're just like your drunken daddy. You're holding like your mama. So all of that ties into your either rational or irrational beliefs about yourself. So depending on if you take on the negative aspects of what you heard and, take them into your adulthood, or even you can have low self-esteem in childhood and teenage years, especially when puberty hits, the low self-esteem either increases or decreases depending on, if you're popular or if you're not popular or if you're getting bullied. So it can have a variety of factors attached to it. So there's not one way to really define it. The simplest way to define it is, what do you think about yourself? How do you feel about you? How do you view you? What's your self-worth look like? Is your cup full or is your cup empty, based upon who you let fill it up? So, yeah, that'll be the simplest way. How do you view you?
Yeah, and I find that seems to be a very common thread. And I'm noticing, though, you don't really see a whole lot of those diagnoses when you're dealing with the male population, which is unfortunate because they have low self-worth as well. Mm-hmm. But I'm noticing, and I don't know about you, Kim. I don't know that I've had anybody on my caseload that had that diagnosis that wasn't a female.
Not that I can think of. I was trying to recall.
Yeah, I can't even think of one that I've ever had that. So it's interesting. It's true what you're saying, Doc D, about that, because I think it's relative, and I also think it's relative not just to the person who you're speaking with, but also the person who's doing the diagnosing and how they classify certain things. Because, now that I'm thinking about, that's usually associated with females for some reason. And it's really a misnomer to think that males don't have low self-esteem, because they do. But I'm noticing that I know on my caseload, there's not a male on my caseload that has that diagnosis. However, low self-worth has a lot to do with a lot of the decisions and how they're feeling about themselves, though. But yet that diagnosis isn't a part of their problem list.
I'm sorry, Doc D. I know I had a couple really fast that I think it takes time for them to, get comfortable with, and it's rare though, but I had a couple that actually shared that they self-esteem or they thought they was less than for whatever reason. I had to think about my caseload. But it took a while to get there because, again, I think it's stigma that's probably surrounding males to say, I have low self-esteem, because that can be viewed as them being weak or them, who knows. But it takes time to get there. All right, that was it.
And that's actually one of the questions on the crisis assessment. How do you view your self-esteem? Would you say you have low, high, or it depends on the situation? So I will ask male and female, about their self-esteem. And then if a guy tells me he has low self-esteem or it depends on the situation, I ask, them to elaborate. And a lot of times they'll associate it with not having money or not having a job or a girlfriend or a wife leaving them for somebody else. So it's kind of tied to material things and self-worth based upon whether they're provider or not, or lack thereof. So that's kind of what I've been seeing on the crisis part of it. And depending on if they were bullied in school, that's the other part of it. So if they were bullied in school, they will take that into adulthood as well. And interestingly enough, in that same curriculum that I was talking about with the adult children in dysfunctional families, it correlates the frequent sexual behaviors to self-esteem and the dysfunctionality too, because we know with young girls, if their self-esteem is low and a guy tells them they're pretty, that's all they need to hear, and then they're madly in love. And then with males, they are on a sexual quest. So if they can get, X amount of women to sleep with them, that increases their self-esteem. So they feel like, they're the man because they were able to conquer this, that, or the other. So
there's another question here. Choice is asking, is it negative to tell someone you need to tell the truth before someone else does?
Yes, it will be in what context.
I
always say be the author of your own story. share your
Yeah.
truth so that you get to tell your version of it before somebody dresses it up or chops it down for you.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, because negativity is, I think it's relative to, it's hard to say a blanket yes or no to that. It would depend on the situation.
It definitely will depend on the situation. I wanted to jump in on that because it says, is it negative to tell somebody they need to tell the truth? And I know what I was taught in therapy, and the way I have to look at it in therapy, and it's probably different in everyday life, is that truth is defined by that person. So
Exactly.
where we deem as, our truth may not align with their truth.
Mhm.
So, it's just a really
Yeah,
gray
and that's why I'm
area.
saying it's relative to.
And
Yeah.
they say it's three sides to every story. So your side, their side, and the actual truth.
And the
So
truth.
again, it goes to perspective. Yeah.
Exactly. And where you fall on that spectrum,
Yes.
that because two people can sit in the same room, we can hear the same story, and yet our response to it can be totally different, and our perception of what was being said can be, because communication is relative, which is why, I mean, there is some truth to nonverbals, but I think nonverbals can be overly read because it's all relative to your perception of what you believe something means. Because I'm sitting like this does not mean I'm not interested in what you're saying. Although people who teach nonverbal communication kind of teach a blanket thing that this may be what it means, when actually this is just my comfort zone. It means nothing other than that's just how I'm comfortable. So it's all relative to your viewpoint and what you've put things to mean. These are great questions. I can't believe it's 8:29 already. Doc D, you have brought so much to the show tonight, and I just want to tell you thank you on behalf of our audience. Thank you for sharing your truth and sharing some of the experiences you've had in working with clients and the stigmas that have been attached to it, and especially the part where you shared about young men and how society has made them think, or their community or their family upbringing or whoever or whatever it may be, they are not understanding that them sleeping with an older woman is still as equally as bad as a young girl being sleeping with an older man. In both accounts, they're both being victimized. And the understanding of how just really sharing that information, because most of us don't even think about things that way. I mean, those on our audience, we probably do, because we've talked about this stuff all the time, but a lot of times fathers don't see that their son is being victimized. And just the fact that you're sharing that these kids, some of them are being sold out for sex as well. For so many years, we've only talked about the crackhead being the mom prostituting her daughter out for sex, and no one's ever really thought about, and most of us hadn't been thinking about, that there are males that are being victimized the same way. And they're being sex trafficked just as much as females are being sex trafficked, which is a whole nother show in itself. It's a whole total show. And so what sex trafficking really is, it's not just what you see on SVU, on Law and Order SVU. There's a whole lot more to that story. And it's a story that needs to be told, because there are people living right next door to us that might be sex trafficked and we never know it, because there's lots of that going on in the environment. I mean, there's been news stories here, even in the Phoenix metro area, where you got kids sex trafficking other kids. And so it's not just an adult male thing or a female perpetrator. I mean, you've got kids in high school that's sex trafficking. They've they're getting their friends in the sex trade. So there's just so much out there. And like I said, that's a whole nother show. But I just want to tell you how much we love you. We appreciate you. And you are always welcome here at Girl Shine for the Momentum Shift. Anytime you want to show back up, let me know.
Hey,
We would gladly have you.
invite.
Yes, we would love to have you. And I appreciate Kim for even introducing you to me and sharing your info so you can come on the show tonight. If you have questions, oh yeah, they want you back. See, they already talking about having you back on the show. They already started.
Let me because I have this on the brain, and it came to me as you were saying something. I don't remember exactly what, but just as a take you out or take me out again. But in addition to the family secrets and the soul wounds and things of that nature, the homosexuality is related to that as well. Because when I would ask the guys at the prison how did they, end up becoming gay or whatever, a lot of that had to do with molestation. Same thing with the girls. The girls decided they wanted to, date women because they had been violated by a man, or they had watched their mom's boyfriends, their husbands mistreat them. So they figured they would avoid that mistreatment by dating, a woman or something of that nature. So all of it's correlated together, even though we may not, have looked at the correlation.
That's a very true statement, and that's a whole nother show. So we will definitely have to have you back on so we can talk about that, because during my days at the women's prison, I've noticed there was a lot of that with the substance abuse as well. A lot of them have been molested.
Yes.
I worked at a female prison, and I would probably, and I worked on the drug yard, I'd probably say 95% of the ladies I work with all had a history of being sexually abused. So it was seemed to be a direct correlation between those two.
Yeah,
but we've got to, so we've got to go, because I don't want my producer to fire me on my day off. It ain't really my day off. I don't get no days off, but on my night off, I'll put it that way. But I just wanted to tell you all, thank you so much for watching us to the end. Thank you, Doc D. You all make sure that you get her sprinkles. Yes, you want the sprinkles. You want all her products. Doc D, you tag me in it so that the people can see, or Kim might actually have the information. I don't know. You guys put it in the comments so that they can be a blessing to your business. And we will get you scheduled again when you're not on call. And yes, when you're not on call. And so you can be on and be well rested, so she can nap before the show, y'all.
I attempted that today, but it didn't work out too good.
I know it's like that. But until next week, thank you all. Oh, next week I have Pastor Julie Wells is going to be on next week. We had her when we did that conference, I think 2 years ago at Covenant City Church. She was there. She's actually a social worker out of Evans, Indiana. She's looking forward to being with us, and I'm so excited that she will be on next week. And Doc D, keep it real, girl.
All right. Thank you.
Good night, rest in Jesus' name. No calls tonight.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lady Rain, Dr. Lady Rain. Y'all, she waving me off, y'all. Good night. I will see y'all next week. God bless.
Good night.
Good night.
You are tuned in to that praisey station, Praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.